In this video, I'm going to show you how I managed to get the very first Mr. Beast NFT to ever be released, and I'll tell you everything you need to know about why this animated flying cat with a Pop-Tart body sold for almost $600,000 and why all of a sudden this NBA short video clips is almost the price of houses. And if that's not crazy enough, the fact that this screenshot I've just taken is essentially on track to be worth $2.5 million. Now during this video, I'll be addressing how images and videos that we all take for granted could now be worth the same price as works of art like the Mona Lisa in the Louvre. And before you accuse me of clickbait, I actually created the very first Mr. Beast NFT myself. And at the end of this video, I'll actually walk you through how I created that exact NFT. Now while you watch the intro video, it would mean a lot to me if you could smash the like button to help the YouTube algorithm to recommend this video to lots more people. Before we jump into NFTs, I want to show you some key turning points in my life, which has led me to ultimately understand what NFTs are actually all about and how they work. So first of all, back when I was in nursery or reception, I created this art piece and my parents put it up on the fridge to showcase to everyone that came over, until they got bored of looking at it or a new takeout menu came to replace its spot on the fridge, making me realize I'm not that much of an artist. Okay, well, this picture actually isn't the exact one that I drew, but in fact this drawing is called Untitled by Kai Twombly, that name down there. And it was sold for $2.3 million. Now if only I had continued my toddler aspirations of becoming an artist, maybe I could have sold it for that much. Now another time, I must have been around 10, 11, maybe 12, and I went to grab a paint bucket from the top shelf in the garage, and then all the paint buckets fell down on the floor and I ended up with this mess. And my dad shouted at me and said I had to spend a few hours cleaning it all up. Again, this isn't exactly the same mess that I created, but in fact this is a piece of art called Number 5 by Jackson Pollock that was sold for $161.7 million. So technically, my dad made me spend a few hours cleaning up a $161.7 million mess. So if you're like me and don't really understand why pieces of art like this is worth this much, you will probably be left with that same feeling after I explain what NFTs are. So first of all, what are NFTs? Well, it stands for non-fungible tokens. And again, if you're like me, you probably have never heard about this term until about maybe a month ago or so, when NFT starts to blow up all over the internet. So non-fungible basically means that it's one of a kind and it cannot be replaced. Whereas fungible, on the other hand, will be compared to something like normal currency, where if I had £100 consisting of two £50 notes, I'd be perfectly fine with exchanging my £100 with someone else for another £100 made up of two £50 notes, or even maybe made up of 5 £20 notes. And this is purely because it has exactly the same value. Whereas with non-fungible, a single token becomes unique and irreplaceable, making it impossible for one token to be equal. Now let's take for instance the Mona Lisa, which is arguably the most famous piece of art in the whole world. Now we all know that the original art piece is kept in the Louvre, and millions of people before COVID and most likely later this year will be heading to Paris to visit the Louvre in order to see this piece of art. Now even though I can Google the picture and download a replica and show it up on the screen right now, and even though this image I have of the painting looks the same as the original, my image is worth nothing. But the original painting had an insurance value of $100 million in 1962, and according to inflation, that now would be worth around $860 million today. But let's get back to NFTs. So why is it that an NBA video clip, which I could have saved on my TV, found online, or videoed on my phone, all of a sudden be worth in the six figures? Now the way to think of these is to think back to the playground days, when you used to buy Premier League stickers and would trade them with your friends at school to try and complete your book. But by the end of the year, there would be a few people in the school who have completed the whole book, meaning there was no real value of this book that you had spent a few months collecting all the stickers in order to complete it. Unless you were able to take that book to a football match and manage to get your favourite footballer, maybe Thierry Henry or David Beckham, to sign the book next to their sticker. Now all of a sudden, your single sticker book, which used to be exactly the same as everyone else's, is now ridiculously more valuable than all of the others thanks to a little bit of Sharpie ink. Now the value of that sticker book is fully dependent on how much one crazy person is willing to pay for it. And guess what? The world is full of crazy people. But what if there was a way to make this whole scenario digital? This is essentially what NFTs allows us to do. NFTs let you take an asset and digitally sign them using the highly secure crypto blockchain technology. But what has made them so special? Well, collectibles have always been a way for die-hard fans to express how much something means to them. And now NFTs are just the latest way to become a collector within the latest fad. Personally, I'm still a bit skeptical about the way in which NFTs are blowing up right now. I feel that currently they're still in their infancy stage of their life where everyone is trying to find out what will work and what they actually are and how to get the best benefits from them. But in the process, they are creating a buzz and hype that is causing these astronomical prices for some of these digital assets. But don't get me wrong, this is definitely going to be an ongoing use case for NFTs, where collectors start these digital rare collections rather than physical collectible items, as the world becomes more and more digital. As an NFT buyer, you will get a secure certificate for owning this digital asset, which is so vital in this digital world where it is so easy to duplicate and forget something. And from a seller's perspective, it makes being a creator even more lucrative, as not only do you get the opportunity to be able to sell your work in the digital world, but it also lets you to continue earning tomorrow, which is a huge bonus point for creators, because until now, it's been very difficult for the original creator to reap the profits when their work appreciates in value. And this is important because NFTs can be programmed to allow the original owner to collect money each time an NFT trades hands. So this could be something like 2.5% or maybe 10% of the actual value of each sale will always go back to the original owner. Now this is one of the benefits of the technology around blockchain and cryptocurrency, where we can use the technology to make an old system work better. In the sense of art, there is a digital artist who has been creating a new piece of art every day for the last 13 years. And he hasn't made any money until around 6 months ago, but then recently the auction company Christie's took one of his latest pieces, which was a digital collage of his first 500 pieces of art, and then auctioned the NFT, which sold for $69.3 million. And so for 13 years, people had been daily creating digital art, and then a couple of years ago, someone had developed a way to use a blockchain, Ethereum, in order to add value to digital content by being able to identify a unique digital asset with a unique token created within the Ether blockchain. Now as it stands, it's still very confusing what is going on in this NFT world. But that is always the case with anything new. But when more of the world starts to understand the value of it, that is when the world starts to regret that they didn't get involved earlier. Now the way in which I see NFTs really taking off is when creators start to use them as a source of membership. So for instance, if Mr. Beast was to create a limited amount of tokens, like 100 tokens of his logo for instance, then anyone who has bought one of those tokens, he could be able to call them to take part in one of his challenge videos, and then he could create a new token each time he wants to do one of those kind of videos. Now Logan Paul had kind of already started doing this by selling $5 million worth of his own NFT, which was this cartoon image of himself styled as a Pokemon trainer. But moving forward, that limited run of images can now be tracked to know who owns that individual asset at any one time. And so Logan Paul could then use that to create an exclusive membership program, for instance. So with that in mind, I thought I would try and find out how easy it is to create my very own NFT. But I thought, while I'm at it, I might as well create my NFT around my video I did about Mr. Beast, and essentially make it the very first Mr. Beast NFT to ever be made. So, where can we actually create NFTs? Well, there's actually quite a lot of places, but I've looked into two, and one of them is OpenSea.io. Now this is probably one of the biggest marketplaces for listing and creating your own NFTs. Then there's also Nifty Gateway. Now this is one of the fastest growing daily drop NFT platforms where they have popular digital artists, and now a lot of celebrities as well are getting involved. And it also accepts USD by credit card as a payment of method. So let's jump into OpenSea and let's create the very first Mr. Beast NFT as a thumbnail from the video I created recently. Great, so we're now in OpenSea.io. After you created your account, etc., then you've logged in, you can come to this button here that says create. Once we click into here, we see our collections. So you see I've already created a collection, this based on my YouTube channel, Ganesh. So if I click into that collection, I'm now on my page. Now I created one NFT the other day just to see how the whole process works. But essentially if I wanted to add a new one, I can come here to add new item. This then does a quick check with MetaMask to make sure that I'm actually the right person who's signing in. And so then I can actually create the NFT that I want to create. And now here we have the option to drag and drop or browse for the image that I want to actually use. So in this case, I want to use the thumbnail that I created for my video, which is this one. And then I have to set the name. So the name for this NFT is going to be the very first Mr. Beast NFT with Ganesh, let's put. Now OpenSea will include a link to this URL on the items detail page so that users can click to learn more about it, and so I just want them to get to my YouTube page, and then the description here. And then you've got the option here to create an unlockable content. So if a person does purchase this NFT, they can then get access to information to unlock maybe a certain area on my website or somewhere else, etc. And then at the moment, I don't have the ability to change this, but you can see here that quantities are coming soon. So in the future, you'll be able to have multiple limited runs of the same NFT in order to have maybe 5 versions of this one single asset. But I think that's all I need for now, so I'm going to create the NFT, and now we can visit the actual asset. So we can see here that the very first Mr. Beast NFT with Ganesh. So now I just need to set a price, so this can be either a fixed amount or a declining price, or I can also put this up for auction, so the highest bidder will get it, or for instance here, group the item to be sold with other items as well. So in this instance, I don't know, I want to just make this a low price, let's say 0.25, so a quarter off an Ethereum. So you can see here we can choose either Ethereum, or we can use DAI stablecoin, or we can also use USD as well. So I want to use Ethereum, and I want to be a quarter of an Ethereum is the price of this initially. And then here on the right hand side, we've got bounties. So OpenSea rewards 1% to registered affiliates who refer your buyer. So this is just how much that's provided to someone else who's using OpenSea as a referral program, so that they're getting people to come to the website in order to purchase. And then we've got everything that we need here to initially post my listing. And that's it. We then have the very first Mr. Beast NFT listed on OpenSea, and the link is in the description down below, so you can go on to the website to see if you do want to purchase it yourself. So that's it for me today. I hope you liked this video and you learned a thing or two about NFTs. Let me know in the comments down below if you've taken a dive into purchasing one of these NFTs. Oh, and feel free to tweet or comment on one of Mr. Beast's videos about this NFT that I've created, because it'll be great to have him recognize that I just created the very first Mr. Beast NFT. But if you're still not subscribed to this channel, head down to the subscribe button and hit the bell button as well, so you get notified when my next video comes out. And as always, don't forget to like this video, comment down below, and share with your friends and family. Peace and love to all of you. See you on the next video. Bye.